In Colorado, Governor Jared Polis previously signed legislation that is going to provide residents with a tax rebate. The state's Department of Revenue announced in an official statement that the governor signed a new law to give Coloradans a tax rebate of $750 for individual filers and $1,500 for joint filers this summer. This law will provide immediate relief to Coloradans by sending you a check this summer instead of spring 2023. The Colorado Department of Revenue is working hard to make sure that residents get the right tax refund as soon as possible. According to the state's Department of Revenue, for residents who received an extended tax filing deadline of October 17th, the tax rebate check will be received by January 31st, 2023. Other states have also signed similar legislation, including Georgia, Delaware, Idaho, and Indiana. Now, breaking news, everybody. Senate Democrat Joe Manchin is upset at Senate Minority Mitch McConnell for opposing the new changes on President Biden's economic agenda. Top Democrats in the Senate are now revising a new version of the Build Back Better legislation. The lawmakers would like to see a monthly benefit boost included to the bill. Top Democrats in the Senate are now revising a new version of the Build Back Better legislation. The lawmakers would like to see a monthly benefit boost included to the bill. And today, Joe Manchin said on top that he's not dissuaded by warnings from the top Senate Republican leader to sink a bipartisan bill that would only strengthen the U.S. economic competitiveness. Manchin told reporters, "I'm not walking away if I can help the country, and if they want to play politics and play party politics, shame on them." Manchin added it was so wrong of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky to issue warnings to sink the bipartisan legislation, which would only boost the federal investment on emerging technologies like computer chips. The Kentucky Republican reiterated the ultimatum and tied to recent Democratic efforts to pass Biden's economic agenda. And during a speech on the Senate floor, McConnell said, "Party line scheming is going to crowd that out. Our side cannot agree to frantically steamroll through bipartisan talks in order to meet a timeline, so our Democratic colleagues can clear the decks to ram through a party line tax hike." McConnell warned and wanted to sink the bill as Democrats make progress towards clinching a deal with Manchin on a climate and tax economic spending package. But a spokesperson for Chuck Schumer said last week that Democrats plan to convene an all-senators classified briefing for the bipartisan bill. Republicans and Democratic negotiators have spent months negotiating on the bill to shore up the domestic semiconductor industry among other sectors in an effort to reduce the U.S. dependence on imports of important products. Experts say Biden's economic package could include around $1 trillion in new spending. These ideas would require a range of tax increases to fund them. These taxes would mostly hit businesses, owners, and corporations, at least according to the current proposals that lawmakers are considering. And Sam Runyon, Manchin's communications director, told Yahoo News in a statement that Senator Manchin insists that any final deal addresses inflation.
Pinch of inflation, and all Americans are feeling this hurt. And just recently, I've heard stories about folks that are actually taking their goods, their jewelry, their electronics to pawn shops so they can get additional money to pay for gas. You know, this is really hurting the American people. And those pawn shop owners, one in particular in Southwest Iowa, said that folks are just volunteering forward, that, you know, they don't have to say why they're pawning their household goods, but they are telling him that they need it for gas money. This is what Iowans are resorting to. Their wages are not keeping up with inflation, and we have an administration.
Approximately 666,000 frontline workers are eligible to receive this check, and it will determine who receives the bonus payments. If all eligible workers apply, then each will receive approximately $750. If fewer workers apply, then the pot will be split among those applicants. The Minnesota Senate recently passed the Comprehensive Health and Human Services Reform Bill to address the state's long-term care and workforce issues. So folks, will President Biden do something for this? Folks, we have a ton of news about the Ford stimulus checks, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. There's a huge deadline for millions of Americans, and officials have confirmed they need to take action to claim a one-time relief check. In roughly 2 months, the governor of Connecticut will send out nearly $170 million in tax rebates and other payments to low and middle-income families, with children and to Connecticut's working poor. While it's part of one of the largest tax cuts in state history, it also marks the largest election year outpouring of one-time relief, since the governor sent $115 million in tax rebates to Connecticut households as he sought re-election in 1998. The state's administration hopes to send out at least 300,000 child tax credit rebates this year. to single parents earn less than 100 grand in 2021, and to two-parent families that earn less than 200 grand. Families must file with the State Department of Revenue Services before June 1st and July 31st to receive a credit. The administration said it expects to issue the relief in August. Around the same time, it also expects to distribute $40 million to $45 million among roughly 180,000 working poor households who claim the state's earned income tax credit on the 2021 state tax returns. The state earned income tax credit currently is worth 30% of the federal credit and provides recipients an average benefit of $700. The one-time $300 bump Lamont and other Democrat-controlled legislature approved for earned income tax credit recipients effectively raised the state credit temporarily to 42% of the tax benefit. But tax reform advocates have been pushing for years to make permanent a child tax credit and enhanced earned income tax credit program. The governor said he wants to reassess the state's fiscal health after much of the $3 billion in federal crisis relief Connecticut received last year has been exhausted. Over the weekend, buyers paid a $5 a gallon, or roughly $100 to fill the tank, and gas prices have doubled since Biden took office. JP Morgan analysts predict $6 a gallon by August, and experts warn this crisis will continue even after Biden's term ends because he's dismantling fossil fuel production. There are now 20 states plus Washington, D.C. with averages of $5 or above. The highest priced states remain California with a state average of $6.40 a gallon. 31% of the nation's 130,000 gas stations were already selling gas for more than $5 a gallon. There are stations and states where gas is cheaper. About 15% of stations nationwide still are selling gas for less than $4.50 a gallon. But even in May, states where gas is cheaper, such as Mississippi, lower average income can mean drivers have to work longer to fill up their tanks. Biden has fighting in. New data has been released, and it's by the federal government. Nancy Pelosi has made an announcement on inflation. Millions of low-income households can expect to receive inflation relief checks very soon, and these payments will be automatically sent out for some, while others may have to take action to receive this assistance. And not only that, you guys want to be sure to continue to watch this video because it gets much more interesting. Now, as Republicans regain momentum on concerns about the economy, the only thing that Democrats seem to agree. A group of several lawmakers say they are moving forward with a new bill that would stop all payments to lawmakers, and if they can't reach a deal on the debt ceiling, this could happen. So a new bill, everybody, would block lawmakers from getting paid if the government defaults on its loans or shuts down, which I would say is a good idea considering the fact that they don't even want to send out the stimulus checks anymore. So this is a possibility as negotiations over raising the debt ceiling have stalled between Joe Biden and the Republicans. But first of all, folks, before we get into the information, I just want to say thank you for watching my channel. And as a way for me to show my appreciation, I just want to say, here's a free $60 Amazon gift card. Use the code right here on your screen and enter it on the checkout aisle on Amazon.com. Remember guys, it's a free Amazon gift card, and if you would like it, just redeem the code. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more videos because I'll also be releasing a ton of more gift cards. Today, Democratic representatives have talked about introducing a bipartisan bill that would require the support from payroll administrators. The lawmaker would still eventually receive their pay, and the payments will be released at the end of the 118th Congress in 2025. But so far, the government is allowed to borrow about $30 trillion, everybody, and they have hit that limit in January. But still, the Treasury Department has been using extraordinary measures to pay the nation's bills. Janet Yellen has even told lawmakers that earlier this month, her best estimate is that a default could occur as June 1st, and though it could be a number of weeks later. She called it imperative that Congress act as soon as possible to increase or suspend the debt limit in a way that provides long-term certainty